how we going, guys? Mick here from Not Cartel, back another kick-ass beer review. Today I'm going to review the smoked sea salt, applewood smoked sea salt, and the pink oyster mushroom ale. Just a bit of a rundown, quick rundown of the recipe. We started off with mash water at 20 litres, sparge around about 7.5 litres. Total volume is 27.5. We ended up 20 litres after fermentation, 18 litres into the keg, 2 litres. Basically, two long necks, sorry, two 750ml champagne bottles full as well. So we didn't end up with a hell of a lot of sediment. So we're lucky we almost got that entire amount as a spare. So original gravity was a 1040. Our final gravity was a 1007. We come in at 4.3%, 9.1 IBUs, and an EBC of 5.9. It's absolutely spot on to the Grainfather app for the colour and so forth. 2.5 kilos of Pilsner malt, 0.6 kilos of wheat malt, and 0.5 kilos of winter wheat jarns, which is a raw wheat product. 14 grams of Willamette hops that went in at 60 minutes for a total of those 9.1 IBUs. And then we used a French saison yeast, so a little bit different than the Jester King original recipe. It is a sort of a copy of what those guys have done. I sort of piqued my interest when I first read the recipe, and I just could not get my head around why you'd do something like this, but you're about to find out why. 7 grams of kosher salt at flame out, 7 grams of the applewood smoked sea salt at flame out, and 70 grams of pink oyster mushrooms. Now the pink oyster mushrooms we got locally from a business who uses spent coffee grains from all the local cafes around Newcastle as their growing medium for their oysters, and I was lucky enough to get hold of the pink oyster mushrooms. A lot smaller than the king oysters and the standard oyster mushrooms. Really sort of more fluffy, more sort of very little weight to it. So 70 grams end up being a fair bit. Well, I consider a fair bit for this recipe. So it is a very light grain recipe. We want to accentuate those other ingredients more than anything. So this is what Jester King has actually gone for, is and it does sound sort of strange and left field with these sorts of ingredients, but it just works. And this is an updated video. We had another video which had a lot of sort of comical sort of things in it. Things didn't go right, and I decided I didn't want to go with it. It sort of went a little bit too long as well, and so here we are with a much quicker video. Standard mash step 1 was the 66 degrees for 60 minutes, and then we upped it to 75 for 10 minutes before we'd done the sparge step. That's pretty much it. I will put the Jester King link for the first 6 recipes I released down in the description. You guys can have a look at that. Some other good ones in amongst that. I'm gonna do all of them. I'm also going to go look at their second release. So they've released another couple of recipes, which will be quite fun and interesting to do. That's it. That's the Smokey Shrooms. Theirs is called Snorkel, and it is a smoked sea salt and oyster mushroom ale. So it's settled out a little bit while I've been sort of chatting away there, talking about the recipe. But here she is. The colour is absolutely, doesn't show up on camera too well, but it's phenomenal. There's something sort of iridescent and vibrant about it. Carbonation's really good. I would have liked to have had less carbonation on this. It is probably a much drier version than what those guys did at Jester King. But other than that, I'm really digging the colour. Digging the aroma. The aroma is almost like sea breeze mixed with a little bit of earthiness. So it's almost like the tides come in tide's gone back out again, and what's been left behind has sort of just been sitting and allowing to bake slightly in the sun. Just that sort of edge that you get, not right when you're on the beach, but sort of as you're approaching the beach, it sort of get that breeze coming across, and there's the smell of lots of different things going on in there, and that's basically what I'm picking up. That's my perception. That's it. Everyone's different in how they pick it up. Definitely sea breeze and a little bit of earthiness. Taste. Now it's warmed. It's warmed a little since it's come out of the keg, which is probably a good thing. This just layers so well. It comes across with different layers. Straight up, you're getting that salt, so almost like a left field goza, which is pretty much what I was trying to aim for. I just wanted that, with the Saison yeast and the sea salt. Just bring it across, and then the mushrooms sort of to cut through. So the pink oyster mushrooms, for me, in my opinion, palate wise, the king oysters are much more meatier, much more beefy. The standard oyster mushrooms sort of, it's a sort of a medium level oyster flavour, mushroom flavour, and then the pink is, for me, I just pick up so much more sort of delicate flavours from the pink oyster mushrooms, particularly the way they're being grown. So the smokiness from the salt sort of carries through as well. So it's almost like, a little bit of smog, a little bit of someone's just burning a fire near a beach, or you're having a beach party and you got the fire going. So you got the salt air, the smell of the sea, and all the sort of familiar smells around you, plus a little bit of smokiness. So that's just how this beer comes across. This has got to be one of the best recipes that I've tried to follow and get as close as I possibly could, but still trying to keep it my style. I wouldn't hesitate in doing it their way. Those guys use a wild caught yeast along with a bacteria. Their other side of things, where they do their spontaneous fermentation, is more for their barrel aged things. These guys are really big with milk the funk, so it is definitely my spin on a really good recipe. I've pretty much surprised myself with this, and I know I'm going to keep brewing it. I know if I can get hold of more of that, and I'll be in touch with them. I know it's an ongoing thing. Oysters all year round. I could just keep brewing it, and it's one of those things. I could drink it all year round. I'd drink it in the cooler season. I'd drink it in the really hot seasons. I'd drink it when it's pissing down rain like it has been here. And I can say that I honestly am really, really chuffed with this particular beer. Cheers.